everybody. Harold here. When you're working in Power BI, do you ever want this or your table and your line chart sliced with the slicer? Beautiful. But you get this flat line, exact same number in every row, and the slicer does nothing. Just changes the date, doesn't change the amount, not really anything. So, or maybe you get this with a year, quarter one, January 1. That's the only date choice you have, and you really want it to look like this. These are two common problems in Power BI with dates, and I'm going to show you how to solve those problems and how to handle calendar date tables in general. So let's get started. And the first thing I want to show you is File Options and Settings Options. In both the global and current file sections under data load, they're under data load. There is a button you can turn on and off called under time intelligence, auto date time for new files. I'll leave mine off. I want to show you why. I'm going to turn it on just for the current file, the one we're making now. And say OK. And we'll show you what happens. Let's get some data. With CSV, we'll get AdventureWorks sales data 2020. And we'll transform just to take a peek at it. We have a date column, which is what we're looking for. We actually have two, but we'll probably use the order date as our key date column. Let's see what happens when we close and apply this. Remember, we've turned auto time intelligence on. Okay, so we've got our AdventureWorks sales data loaded. So let's make a table, and we will put in order date. So we see what happened here. When auto time intelligence is turned on, Power BI creates a date hierarchy for you. You really can't get rid of it, and it only shows up in one form, and it's kind of hard to work with. I'll show you. Let's put We'll put the whole date hierarchy in our table, and then we'll put order quantity. So order quantity on January 1. It gives you year, quarter, month, day in this format. You can't get that 1/1/2020 like I showed you short date format. There's no way to change these. It just appears like this. You can do this. Pick off year, quarter, have month and day. You know what year it is. So January 1. I mean, it's really constrained, hard to work with. Best for simple uh, tables, maybe for brand new users, but I would I would say don't even learn to use it at all. I mean, I really just don't like it. So what I do is, let me show you the next way you can do it. There are ways to do it in DAX. They're a little better. Let's start another new file. It should start with auto time intelligence turned off because that's my global setting. We'll check it anyway. So we'll go to File Options and Settings, Options, And it is off in global and off in current. Okay. InventureWorks, raw data. We'll get the sales data 2020. And for demonstration purposes, I'm also going to get, well, let's just load that. I'm also going to get the returns data. Load that also. I'm getting returns because there's a date column in that also. So I can load, and you're going to ask, first question is generally why you don't just use the order date column for everything. Well, there's a couple of reasons. If there was any gaps in if you didn't have any order dates on January 7th, that date wouldn't even appear in your calendars. There'd be gaps. The other reason, it's a big one. I told you I like short dates, so let's go down to order date and change that to short date. And let's go ahead and drop order quantity on here also. So if I bring in returns quantity, it's all the same. It's just the total returns because there's no relationship between sales data and returns data. So you would say, go join those in modeling view. Okay. If you do that, order date to return date. So, red, you don't want to use this. You should only use it if you really know what you're doing and it could cause problems. So that right there, if you're going to have a model larger than one table, you really do need a date table. There's a couple ways you can create them in DAC. Let's go back to report view. Let's go to table view. Uh, Let me blow this up for you guys. Control scroll. I'm going to do a new table. There's a DAX function called CALENDARAUTO, and we'll call this calendar 1 equals CALENDARAUTO. And it doesn't take an argument. It automatically picks up your date ranges and creates a calendar table for you. So I could just say that, and it's got me a calendar table for the year 2019 through 2022 inclusive. Whenever you make a calendar table, it doesn't matter if the year ended in April, you need to make the whole year January 1 through December 31, or it will not function correctly. So keep that in mind. So now we have a calendar table. We could go back to modeling view, join order date, many to one, green, that's beautiful. Save. We can also join return date. Again, everything's green, many to one, beautiful. And while we're here, we could also join stock date. That relationship, green, beautiful, many to one, will not be active. If you want to use the stock date relationship, you must first deactivate the order date relationship. Then you can activate the stock date relationship. You have to turn one off before you turn the other one on, or this will not work. I'm going to change it back. to order date. Okay, let's go back to report view. Now, if we take order date out and use the date from our calendar, we can't see this. There were no returns. Okay, let's go down where there's some returns. You'll see the returns. The total was 1828, but now we have returns on the dates along with quantity. So it is now filtering through both the return and order table because we have linked a date table. You can also do that with, let's go back to table view, new table. There's a DAX function. We'll call this calendar 2. And there's a DAX function called calendar. And you tell it a start date and end date. So you want to say min. Let's do this format DAX. It's not DAX if it's not formatted correctly. Say min order date. You know, you could stretch these out. It helps a lot. Be our first date, and then comma, shift enter, and max order date. So the full range of our order dates. This won't work with some of the dates in our return table, but this is just for example. I think we need to close our calendar. Say OK. Now here's a calendar for the year 2020. So you can create a calendar that way and join it. An important thing to note, whenever you create one of these tables, whether it's calendar auto or calendar or one you create with DAX on your own, you need to mark it as a date table. I've already marked this one. Mark as a date table to enable creation of date-related visuals, tables, measures, etc. Any built-in date tables that are already associated with this table will be removed. Visuals or DAX expressions referring to them may break. So do this when you first create a date table, and you just choose a column to put it on. In this case, it's date. It usually will be just date, and then you just save it. That's 2 ways in DAX. You can create a calendar. The problem with these are they don't have year, month, quarter, anything else. They're just straight date columns. You have to change the DAX and add columns to them. So I like to just create my own calendar table using add columns. I don't do it in Power BI. I do it in our old friend. So I would say create a DAX calendar table for 2019 through 2022 using add columns. That fills out the date range for you, gives you what it thinks are useful columns you might want to have, and you can just copy, go back to Power BI, and table View, in table view, new table. And we'll just paste that. And we'll call this calendar 3 Chat GPT. And we'll save that. Let's go back and unhook calendar 1 and hook up uh, take all these off, get this out of the way, bring our new ChatGPT calendar over. We will hook to order date, green, great, inactive on the stock date, green, great, and the return date. Now, everything should work. Let's get a table up here. Let's remove this. So let's get a table and a line chart. And see if we haven't solved our original problem where nothing moved. We'll put um, date from our new calendar 3 ChatGPT table. We'll put that on both of them. We'll also put order quantity and return quantity. And throw in a date slicer using date from our calendar. And everything moves. Table changes. Beautiful. We can also now use not date, but months. Quarter. And they all work great also. So if you get your ChatGPT generated calendar table and your everything linked up right, it should work. Another thing about the ChatGPT table, let's go back to ChatGPT. I don't have, I want day name and weekday name, Monday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So I'll go back to ChatGPT, say, please add weekday name. So here's my new table. I won't bother to just pull that line out. Got weekday name and weekday number. So go back to table view. We'll just take this out, put this in, and save it back. Now we have weekday name and weekday number. And I'm going to show you something more about month real quick. Uh, well, let me show you how we did get weekday name and number. So let's take quarter out, put weekday name in. So that about wraps it up. Let me take you to a slide with some key takeaways. Now, don't use Calendar Auto, Auto Time Intelligence. Create your own table with add columns and ChatGPT. Make sure you mark it as a date table. And make sure you create relationships between the calendar date and date fields in your other tables. And everything will work fine. So good luck with your relationships. I hope you like this video on date tables. I'll have some more upcoming. If you did like this one, please like it and subscribe. And I'll see you next time. Thanks, everybody.